Welcome to the full moon, August 9th, 2025, happening at 2:54 a.m. Central Time. This chart is going to be active for at least the next 2 weeks, and depending on how other planets bounce off of it, it could even be active for longer than that. We've got two complicated oppositions going on. We don't always think of the full moon as an opposition, but it is the sun and moon in opposition to each other that creates that full moon. And oppositions are the most difficult of all the Ptolemaic or Ptolemy, aspects. I'm not sure I'm saying that word right. The other opposition is between the two bad boys of the inner planets. That would be Mars and Saturn. They are called malefics in Hellenistic astrology. But anyway, let's start with the moon. She represents the feminine, cycles, our feelings, mothering, nurturance, protection, things like that. But also, she represents we, the people. She's facing off with the sun, and that's masculine energy, conscious minds, our creative driving force, but also heads of state. The moon is in Aquarius, and Aquarius is about, just revolutionary change. That's all. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and that makes what's happening with Uranus a very direct influence on the condition of the moon. And guess what? Uranus is getting nothing but aces from the other planets that it's connecting with, strong, flowing aspects that are almost exact from Mars, Saturn, Neptune, and our phoenix rising from the ashes friend, Pluto. The moon is also ruling the benefics or beneficial planets, Venus and Jupiter in Cancer. So the moon is getting an awful lot of support and influence from these outer planets and inner ones too. But the outer planets are all about guiding us forward on our evolutionary path. And that is a path of growth, not oppression. It's a path of moving forward, not regression. The moon and the sun are hitting up all of the well-known asteroid goddesses, Ceres, Juno, Vesta, and Pallas. It's too much to go into all the meaning that's there, but there's definitely support for the moon from tactical genius Pallas Athena, hanging out right there with the moon, and Vesta, what we hold sacred, and Juno, dedication, but she's also the wife of a notorious cheater and rapist, Jupiter. Sad to say that about Jupiter, but it's true. Vesta and Juno are showing their discontent with a square to the sun and the moon. And hey, look, there's Eris, who kicks us in our complacency, and Chiron, the wounded healer. The wound and the medicine for the wound. They're both opposing Black Moon Lilith. They want her to talk about the ugly things, her shame, and the abuse she's suffered. Let it be healed by sunlight is what I'm getting this from that aspect. And speaking of sunlight, let's get back to the sun. The sun is in his home 20 Leo. And so by comparison, he's not getting any helpful vibes from any other planets. He's on his own trip. And that's giving me a big whiff of self-importance and a lack of humility. No curiosity there about what else is going on. And that's Shadow Leo. Shadow Leo needs to be seen, needs to dominate, like forcing an external validation because he needs to be reassured by the outside world by other people. He's not like solid um in his own light, in his own heart. On the other hand, healthy Leo enjoys attention, sure, but actually has confidence in himself. Healthy Leo is generous and kind and funny, warm. Pedro Pascal is a great example of a Leo sun. Like, need I say more, right? He also has a Mars-Saturn opposition in his chart, and that's interesting that he came to mind for this example. So beautiful things really can arise from that aspect too. Anyway, this sun in Leo is getting some gas from a semi-square to Mars. But this is Mars in Libra, and that is like a warrior being told to love both sides. And that's causing Mars some cognitive dissonance. Here's the chart with just the usual suspects, so you can check that out. You can see the Sun is also getting a lot of intense pushback from Saturn and Neptune with a sesquiquadrate, or susquiquadrate. That's meant to throw us back on our heels until we can play nicely with others. And that semi-square from Mars could open up new ways of thinking or just add to the frustration and anger. Then there's an opposition happening between Saturn and Mars, and that sets the table for this full moon. It's exact 5 hours before the full moon, so that is some exacting right there. It's just more of this wild astrology we're having right now that is forcing major change. Mars and Saturn are called the malefics in Hellenistic astrology. They are the party crashers, and they don't mind offending you at all. These guys are like the foot soldier and the general squaring off. Mars knows more about the ground and hand-to-hand combat, but Saturn knows strategy and the long game. And they can both teach us a lot about ourselves, but they can both really feel like assholes too. Make your life difficult until you turn to the light. The funny thing is Saturn is in Mars's sign, and Mars is Decan on top of it. So Mars is kind of the boss of Saturn here. It looks like Mars has the upper hand, but he's in Venus's sign of Libra, where he really isn't very comfortable. And he's even in the Venus Decan on top of it. It's like double Venus. He doesn't know the language here, and he's kind of weirded out about trying to do the Libra work of a diplomat. Venus is in excellent shape, though, for bossing him around. She's even getting the influence of Uranus by an aspect called a novile, and that can help us take in new revolutionary ideas. Because the first thing we have to do is change our minds, right? That's the beginning of any aspect, any advancement in our lives. So the drive here, the bottom line, is about finding that balance and finding a way to reestablish the structures so that we can bring harmony back. So this configuration can be about the misuse of power, or in the opposite extreme, it can be about not using our power because we are afraid that we're not enough. We are enough. We may be feeling like we don't want to be here. We don't want to address what's going on because it feels so overwhelming. We want to skip to the future where everything's going to be great, right? And personally, I do believe it's going to be great and that everything's going to be okay in the end if we live through it. But it's only going to be great if we actually do the work. Plugging our ears and waiting shows a lack of real awareness, specifically for the sun in this chart. Because whatever business the sun is ignoring isn't going to go away or be swept under the rug. It's just not going to go away. We're being asked to stop and figure out why we're being blocked. And that reason might be that we're not considering the whole environment and how we can integrate for the best of everything, not just push what we want just because we want it. So I hope the political analogies are pretty plain. So how can we use this energy in our personal lives? Let's ask ourselves where our focus on the future gets in the way of our daily lives, being in the moment. Are we constantly imagining the worst outcomes so often that it's like we're wishing it into existence? Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Please don't give any energy to that outcome. We have to be so sure where we're going and that they're not going to win, because the more energy we give to losing everything, the more, I mean, you believe in astrology or you wouldn't be watching this, right? So you believe in how energy actually functions. And if we are giving our blood, sweat, and tears to fear that we're going to be in chains for the rest of our lives, we're helping that bad outcome happen. I hope that makes sense. Thoughts are things. And, besides that, constantly thinking about terrible things hurts our hearts. It makes us feel like shit all the time. It's demoralizing and it feels like it's just inevitable, and it's not. So, keep your eye on current events, show up for every protest that you can, but live your life and don't let fear take you over. We are feeling the need for revolutionary change, right? I mean, that's Captain Obvious, right? But it's that revolutionary change is getting significant support from all corners, from Pluto to Pallas. Do we let the weaknesses of our conscious minds take over and deny our hearts what our hearts want? Or can our conscious minds be strong enough and not succumb to fear, be open to listening to the moon? Can we open our ears and our eyes and accept support? Can we be more Pedro Pascal and less Benito Mussolini? He's another Leo sun. Where are we bringing a whoopee cushion to a gunfight? Where are we using our power to keep outdated rules in place by following them? Are we following rules because they've always been there? Or because some bully is going to beat us up if we don't comply? Are we sticking to rules that cause us pain because we're honoring the rules because we're honoring the rules more than we're honoring ourselves? And above all, where is our ego getting in the way of our personal progress? Where are we being too proud to change? Can we find some kind of happy give and take between these two sets of oppositions? That's the goal with oppositions, but it's pretty difficult to achieve that balance. It's a lot easier to just howl at the moon, right? Finally, a little interesting tidbit I noticed in the DC chart, Washington, D.C., Venus and Jupiter are above the ascendant, and in every other chart system, house system, besides whole sign houses, the original and best. That places those planets in the 12th house, and that puts them out of reach. So I'm willing to take that 12th house under advisement for this special occasion. Anyway, in Chicago, on the other hand, where many members of the Texas legislature are making a stand, and where Governor Pritzker is defending them right out loud, Venus and Jupiter are right on the ascendant. And I think that is just uh, a wonderful sign. I love it. So I hope this full moon lights up the world. It's one more step, one more moon as we move forward through this incredible time of massive evolutionary change. We're lucky in many respects to be here and be the ones in charge of making this happen. It's our holy cosmic dharma to help this go in the right direction. I hope you will join me in that effort. So let me know in the comments what you think. And remember, I am here to meet with you and discuss your chart or anything else you'd like. I have a variety of readings available on my website, MicheleKraft.Love, and I would love to talk to you. Can't wait to meet you. And remember, I love you, but the universe loves you more. See you next week.